Good morning, everyone. Okay, so I think I'm going to do a little vlog over the next couple of days of me going to the Adventure Mind conference, and I'm very excited. It's basically a conference that centres around mental health and mental well-being and the overlap between that and adventure and the outdoors. It's a topic that I'm fascinated by, and it's something that feels very close to my heart. And yeah, I'm just really excited to go and network, basically just meet cool people, explore ideas for career options in this field, maybe gather up anything that I hear or see that can be relevant to recovery. And I think in terms of the context of this vlog, I'm going to really focus on that, I think. Kind of sharing anything that I hear or see that can be or could be relevant to the recovery process. So I'm not going to make this introduction too long. Let's go. See you later, little Tika. And it would appear that Nora really wants to come with me. And we are off. It's not even raining outside. I'm just about to head off, but I had to come on and say, for anyone who doesn't know, as in who doesn't follow me on Instagram, I got a new car recently, and every single time I get in it, I am obsessed. Completely and utterly obsessed. Like every time I get in it, I feel like a kid at Christmas. I'm like, oh my goodness, I walk towards it, I'm like, is that mine? Is that mine? And I get in and I'm like, this is so exciting. Yeah, that's all really. But I'm now going to drive a couple of hours, and it is a joy in this thing. And yeah, anyway, see you when I get there. Me again. It's only fitting that on the way to the Adventure Mind conference, I end up having a bit of an adventure. Basically, my route took me into the back of the centre. So I was just driving down what turned progressively into more and more of a bridle way, and then kind of thought, no, I think my sat nav must be wrong, and then asked a dog walker, and he was like, yes, no, this is not right. So yeah, but we are now here, and yeah, I'm very excited to go in, check in, and get started.
Nothing wrong with the comfort zone. People think that don't stay in the comfort zone. The comfort zone is an important place, but we don't want to reside there permanently, because then we have no growth.
Taking multiple forms of camping, like I'm sure many people do multiple.
Gain that certain achievement, it's going to build there.
Hey everyone, okay, so I'm really sorry if the video quality is awful here. I'm just walking back to my room, and the lighting isn't great, but I'm not sure if I'm in a shared room, so I'm not sure if there's going to be people who are asleep when I get in, so I don't want to risk that and then not be able to kind of summarise the day, because I'm determined to do a little vlog. It's been amazing. It's been really, really amazing. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, try and use my head to block the light. Sorry, the lighting got terrible there. Yeah, I've just spent the evening having dinner with a couple of really lovely ladies I met, and I'm feeling thoroughly inspired. We were talking all about adventure and well-being and reframing what it means to adventure and women in the outdoors, and just so many things. It's been really, really lovely, and I can absolutely, oh, it's a bit muddy here. It's also going to be very dark, I apologise. Yeah, I can absolutely see an overlap between some of the stuff that's being talked about and, you know, recovery, and because, you know, recovery is an adventure. Like when you think about what it means to adventure, I'm going to just stand here for a little bit. When you think about what it means to adventure, it's I'm sorry, this is so close and such awkward angles, but hey ho. You know, it's facing adversity, it's embarking into the unknown, it's facing challenge, it's being frightened and doing it, being brave. It's choosing challenge. And, you know, one of the things that was really wonderful that they've been speaking a lot about is how, you know, actually growth happens outside your comfort zone. It happens in that area where you push yourself. And the brilliant thing about when you push yourself outside of what feels safe, which, you know, they're talking about comfort zones, but I suppose what I'd be reinterpreting, or that's not even a word, what I'd be interpreting that as is the safety zone of the eating disorder and that friction-free behaviour that's associated with what the eating disorder approves of. They're sort of saying how, and it's so true in recovery, that you press outside of that, and yes, it's frightening, yes, there's doubt and overwhelm and uncertainty, but you do it, you take action, and you face what you face, and you deal with it as it comes. And the brilliant thing is that as you do that, yes, you get more comfortable in that uncomfortable space, but also your comfort zone stretches and it increases, and with that so does your life. And I don't know if I really explained this very well, but I felt like it was such a valid message and so relevant. I feel like I'm awkwardly just stood in the middle of talking, but it was just so relevant to recovery, and I really wanted to come on and share, because that's the one thing that I take from here that's relevant in terms of my work in recovery. That's it. So yeah, anyway, speak soon.
So she's not even tens. What, tens of thousands of women? Makes sense.
Yes, everyone.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
So I've literally just come through the door, and oh my goodness, what an amazing day. I haven't had a chance at all to do any kind of filming. I have to show you this. Straight through the door, and Nora has jumped immediately into the bag. She is a real lover of any kind of space that she can jump into, or like boxes, bags, anything. She just loves it. So yeah, anyway, I haven't had a chance to do any kind of videoing today just because it's been really busy. I woke up and we pretty much sort of immediately went to breakfast, and then we sat and chatted. Then we went to the first talk, which was amazing. And then we went out and we did different activities. So this morning I did parkour, and it was like mental health focused parkour and like connection with your body, and it was really, really cool actually. And then what did happen next? Then we had another talk, then had lunch, and then we went and did another activity, and my one this afternoon was abseiling, which was really cool. And I didn't think I was going to be able to actually do it. I thought it was just going to be kind of more talking, but actually I was able to do an abseil, which was quite fun. And that was really interesting because the guy who ran it was a neuroscientist, and he was talking a lot about fear and things that you can do, evidence-based things that can help control fear. A lot of it was around breathing, to be honest. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of pull all the little bits from the last couple of days together, which I think are going to be relevant to share with you, that's related to recovery. But right now, I'm just going to unpack my bags, get some dinner on, and then chill out so that I can decompress. And then I will, as I say, probably over the next couple of days, film a little bit where I consolidate things. Otherwise, yeah, speak to you soon. Friends, so I feel much more rested and thoroughly replenished in terms of my ability to put thoughts together, and yeah, I just wanted to pop on. I'm not gonna make this mega long because I don't think it needs to be. I didn't write very many notes. Look at that's it. That's my notes. I used to be such a perfectionist and would obsessively write notes about if I ever went anything like this, I would just have to write everything down and it would all have to be perfect. And yeah, I wrote a couple of things and then just got completely immersed in listening and talking to people. And yeah, the things I wrote down I actually feel very relevant to what I want to share. Two things. One, dare to fail, because that's how you find out what you're capable of. It's so true. It's so true in every area of life, but it feels like it is very relevant in recovery. You know, you have to step outside of your comfort zone. You have to step into that zone of doubt and uncertainty, into the fear. And you have to do that not only in order to move forwards and to recover, but also to show yourself that you can do it. And when we talk about, you know, the reason we talk so much about commitment and its value and its crucial importance is because actually when it comes to motivation, that doesn't come until you've actually started doing recovery. You know, the more progress you make, the more motivated you are to continue moving forward. And I think a lot of that is to do with, because as you move forwards, you gain evidence that you can do it. And so this is why this thing of daring to fail, because that's how you find out what you're capable of, is so true. You have to take that step into the unknown. You have to embrace the doubt. You have to do it scared in order to build that motivation, gather that evidence that you can do it, and learn that you are capable of recovering. But that isn't something, none of those things are things that you can gather or gain by staying in the eating disorder comfort zone and looking and thinking about recovery. You have to do it. You have to step into that risk of failure, step into the mistakes and the slips and the slides and the not getting it perfect, which is so normal. You have to step into it. And then the second thing that I wrote, which is pretty much the same as what I've just been speaking about. It says, the more you press outside of your comfort zone, the more it grows. And I think I mentioned this a little bit last night. I can't remember for sure, or at some point, but I'll say it again, just in case I didn't. It's that idea that your comfort zone grows as you push out of it. And as you step outside your comfort zone and you, one second, stop that, don't do that, that's my cable. Sorry, Nora's just decided she was going to chew my laptop cable. You know, as you step outside of your comfort zone and you embark on the unknown and you press into that fear and into that doubt and into that risk of failure, not only do you get more comfortable and more confident in your ability to do that, and you build momentum and motivation in that process, you also actually expand that comfort zone. And the way, you know, this is something that's relevant in every aspect of life, but when it comes to recovery, this is so, so true. You know, in recovery, that comfort zone is the circle of thoughts, beliefs, behaviours that are approved and relevant to your eating disorder mindset, that uphold and promote and protect that energy. Hello. Oh dear, this is not conducive. Tika, thank you. That uphold that, there we go, that eating disorder mindset. And you have to press into that. You have to push into the fear, into the unknown, into the rebellious opposite action. You have to do it without knowing you can do it. You know, you have to do it with that awareness that there is doubt and there's uncertainty and you're not 100% sure what it's going to look like at the other end or how you're going to cope with that or what it's going to be like. And there's no manual, you know, there's no hard and fast rule. This is trusting your body, learning that the only thing on this planet that knows when you're done is your body. And that is a leap of trust. But you press into that fear. And the brilliant thing that happens is not only do you get stronger in your ability to do the opposite action and to be in the fear and be in the doubt, you also expand that circle. And so what was previously like, oh, no, can't do that, suddenly becomes, no, okay, actually I can do this. And the brilliant thing about recovery is the more you do this, the more you push and push and push. Not only does that comfort zone just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, also it stops being a comfort zone, which is the eating disorder mindset, and a zone where you're upholding the energy deficit that your eating disorder thrives on. Actually, it becomes you and your healthy self and your core self, and it becomes a zone that you thrive in. So yeah, the girls are being, stop it. I'm just gonna let them do what they're doing. They're just climbing up the blinds. I'll just pretend that's fine. We don't mind that. If there's suddenly a huge crash, it's because they've pulled the blinds off the wall, and that will not be okay. But until then, we'll just carry on. So yeah, I hope that kind of makes sense. That is all that I wrote. There was a lot of stuff that I think was relevant. The abseiling that we did was really cool, and the guy spoke about the ability to use breathing to tap into our sort of parasympathetic nervous system, which is basically your rest and digest nervous system. So it's pulling yourself out of that fight, flight, and freeze, and it's pulling yourself into that kind of more restful, calming state. And there is evidence to suggest that by using very, very simple breathing techniques, we have the ability to shift our bodies from that physiologically stressed state back into that parasympathetic nervous system, that more restful, that rest and digest. You know, if we think about fight and flight and then rest and digest, and we think about it on sort of a tipping thing like this, where we can be in the stress state and we can be in the more relaxed state, and our body sort of fluctuates, we can use our breathing to bring ourselves back more into that restful state. Now, this is really relevant in recovery, because when you are at the point of action taking and the point of decision making, what happens is that your body goes into stress response. It goes into a fear-based stress response. And so that system very much tips in this direction. You get the physiological symptoms associated with that. You get the emotional symptoms associated with that. And you also get shifts in your brain. And what happens is when your body goes into that high stress state, the prefrontal bit of your brain that is higher, the higher thinking, like reasoning, logical thinking, just goes offline, and you go into survival mode in your brain. You go to that deeper part of your brain that is responsible for stress response survival, and it's fear-based. It's basically the part of your brain that goes, scary thing, do this. And that is why in recovery it's useful to have tools. You know, one, we have to accept we are aware of that fear, we predict that fear, we predict that response, and no matter how frightening things feel, we still have control over the actions we choose to take. That is really important to remember. But it doesn't hurt to have tools and extra stuff in our toolkit that we can be using to help ourselves. You know, it doesn't hurt at all. And so this very simple, very, very, very simple technique, which I love, because I know for me in recovery, I needed things to be as simple as possible, because when you're in the thick of it, the last thing you need is something really complicated. This is really great. He basically spoke, and as I said, he's a neuroscientist and had done a lot of research in this field. And he was saying how what you can do is adjust your breathing to help your body shift into that more restful state, into its parasympathetic nervous system, away from its sympathetic nervous system, which is that stressed one. And the best thing that you can do is basically to elongate the breathing out. I hope that makes sense. So basically, very simple, breathe in for 3 seconds and out for 5 seconds. You know, and just, because what you're doing, apparently what he said is that every single time that we breathe in, we are alerting our body. We're in a more alert phase. You get a slight raise in heartbeat. You shift yourself slightly into that more alert kind of fight and flight mode. And when we breathe out, we are going in the other direction. We are sort of signaling more of relaxation, signaling more restfulness. And that, he says, that's happening literally with every single breath. You're getting very, very, very slight fluctuations in this system. And so what we can do is we can use that and then manipulate it at times where we need to manage higher levels of stress. Especially because often, not always, but often when we are really stressed, our breathing tends to speed up and we tend to do more breathing in than breathing out. You know, like at the very far end of that, and you think about like a panic attack, it's a lot of, you know, it's a lot of breathing in. Again, I'm not a breath specialist at all, but when he was talking about this was all stuff that was kind of playing in my mind. I was thinking, oh no, this makes a lot of sense. And And so, yeah, we practice just breathing in for 3 seconds and then out for 5 seconds. And it's basically you're trying to elongate, by comparison, you're trying to elongate that breathing out. And the 3 and 5 was a really nice kind of easy one to hold on to. And it was amazing, actually. I think he said that you should do it sort of 4, 5, 6 times. I think it was that, before you'll start to notice. And I know that, we were all stood there and we did notice that sense of a calming. And that was from a state where we were all fairly neutral. Obviously, we weren't really in a particularly, well, I wasn't. I've done a lot of abseiling. And so abseiling is not something I find stressful at all. But I could still sense like that kind of calming energy and that calming sense within myself. So yeah, I thought that was a really good thing to share as well. And I'm sure there might be other things that I think of. I just had the most wonderful time. I met some amazing people. I'm very excited to plan some expeditions. To be honest, just listening to all these people and their adventures and their expeditions, I was just like, oh, I just want to go to somewhere really cool and do some expeditions. And I want to I don't know. I just feel I've come away feeling so alive, and I just think it's exciting and it's wonderful. And as I say, I've met such cool people, and it's really nice as well to be able to go and really be myself and to then connect with people as a consequence. Because I know that in my eating disorder, and even to a degree when I was in quasi, I just had a wall up all the time. I just had this kind of wall up, and I don't have that any longer. I'm happy to be a bit raw and open. And what was wonderful? One of the connections I made, this girl I met, and she's so lovely. We actually kind of, we're friends. I feel like I've made a friend here over the fact that I shared that I was feeling a bit out of my depth. I was feeling a little bit like everybody here had these incredible careers and they were working in this field, and they had they were researchers or intrepid explorers or mountain leaders or just all sorts of people working in sort of social care settings. There were people that were working, and I kind of felt a bit where everyone goes around and says, oh, what do you do? And I was a bit like, oh, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and I'm kind of building a new career and I'm not really sure. And I felt a bit conscious about that. And it was so lovely because I shared that. And, and I very much used to be, and I think this was something which was exacerbated by my eating disorder, very much someone who didn't like to share problems until I'd got solutions already. And I definitely didn't feel comfortable sharing vulnerability. It's taken a lot of practice by doing, but I'm okay with it now. I feel comfortable sharing my problems before I have solutions. And I feel okay sharing my vulnerabilities. It felt good, in fact. It felt really good, actually, just to stand and share to this person and be like, no, I don't really know what I'm doing. And it's a good thing because we connected over that, because she was in a similar place. And if I hadn't have shared that, I'd just still have this wall up. And it was by doing that sharing that I've made this friend. And yeah, it's just exciting. So I'm sure there was something else I was going to say. Oh, yes. You will notice in the footage that there is a very, very distinct lack of any food-related content. And I'll be honest with you, it's because I was too busy talking and I just forgot, which is a good thing. I keep trying to do vlogs and thinking they're going to be related to sharing, what recovered is like, but then I just forget. But I think that's part of being recovered. I think that's it, But I can tell you, I can verbalise to you that it's just easy. It's just easy, and it's so the afterthought, and don't get me wrong, I still love food. It's okay to love food. I do, and I have a big appetite, and I love that as well. But it's not the priority. It's not the first thing on my mind, and it's definitely not the thing that I'm thinking about in order to then remember to then video it and talk about it. So yeah, I did a terrible job of doing that, but in a way, I think I'll probably always just keep saying this with all my vlogs, that it's cool. That is recovered. That is what you're aiming to, right? You don't go through recovery to then be like, oh, I'm going to come out and I'm just going to be thinking about food all the time and videoing it all and photographing. No, that's stuff that I associated with me when I was in an energy deficit and obsessed with food. The best things in terms of recovered, at the end of the day, I didn't take anything with me. It was fully catered from start to finish. Like, I didn't know what was being served until I was stood at the canteen thing and just said that, yeah. Like, I just had what was served and I just ate, and then, yeah, it was just simple and easy. So I think that's it. I think I'm going to wrap it up. Can't think of anything else to say. I hope that it's mildly interesting. I really don't know. I've done a lot of like random little snippets, and I'm going to just sort of string them together and be like, there we go. But I'm practicing, you know, and you can't expect to be perfect at something that you are working at and you're new at. So yeah, thank you so much. I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you are having a good time, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.